Hello everyone, with me Senta Joyce, who will give a brief explanation about the journal I have read before with the title Psychological Problem Encountered by EFL Student in Speaking Class at Universitas Islam Riyadh. So I will start with introduction. Knowing the speaking problem faced by a student is very necessary and beneficial for both teacher and student. By analyzing it, teacher can know more about what problem might hinder the student during class speaking, then try to evaluate and solve problem together with student. This study focused on finding out and analyzing the problem of psychological encounter by the student in the subject of speaking for a social intercultural communication class at English Language Education of Universitas Islam Riyadh. Second one is research problem. There is a speaking skill problem in teaching and learning speaking, psychological problem, and law of self-esteem. The first one is speaking skill. The ability to speak is related to communicative competence. Speaking in foreign language is required to share understanding with others. To convey the message exactly and accurately, they must find the most acceptable word as well as the perfect syntax. Second one is problem in teaching and learning speaking. Teaching and learning to talk is more challenging for a teacher than teaching other linguistic talents. Problem may develop as a result of both language acquisition and technology challenge in teaching speaking. The teacher, on the other hand, may have more difficult teaching speaking due to technical issues. Among these are student motivation and interest, student anxiety to participate, student grouping, teaching media, classroom management, and evaluation procedure. Third one is psychological problem. There's a law of self-confidence, anxiety, and law of self-esteem. Law of self-confidence, it means someone who has self-confidence is someone who is not worried about the end result of something he will do. Anxiety is a subjective sensation of tension, fear, uneasiness, and worry caused by the autonomic nervous system being activated. In other words, anxiety refers to particular anxious feeling to encounter the learner that cause worry and nervous. Law of self-esteem. Self-esteem is a physiological and social phenomena in which an individual judges his or her own competence and self-worth based on a range of value which can result in a variety of emotional states. Method. This kind of study aims only to describe and interpret the phenomenon or even found without further studying, such as defining its correlation or examining hypothesis. English Language Education Study Program, Universitas Islam Riyadh, Pekanbaru. Procedure of collecting data is distributing questionnaire and interviewing students. First, questionnaire were distributed to the sample. Second, instructions were given to the student to make sure all of the questions provided were answered by them. Next, data collected from the questionnaire were analyzed to measure the percentage of each psychological problem indicator. For finding and discussion, there were three indicators that have been elaborated by the researchers for finding out the psychological problem in speaking skill. They were law of self-confidence, anxiety, and law of self-esteem. The first one is law of self-confidence. There are 5 statements. Statement 1 is I feel confident when I speak in front of the class. Statement 2, I enjoy the class when I know that we are going to discuss a particular topic. Statement 3, I like to volunteer answer questions during the class. Statement 4, the class moves so quickly, I worry about getting left behind. Statement 5, I would probably feel comfortable around my friends who are fluent in speaking. From 5 statements that I have been asked, mostly the second semester students feel confident enough in following speaking for social intercultural communication class. Meanwhile, there was one problem which encountered some students in their perception. They would not like to voluntarily answer the question in the speaking class. In line with the student answer and questionnaire, only one of the interviewer states that she felt unconfident when speaking in front of class. She said that she felt unconfident due to lack of practice. Meanwhile, the other interview did not have problem with their self-confidence. And city. There are 8 statements. The first one is statement 1. I would feel anxious while speaking English in the class. Statement 2. I would feel less nervous about speaking English in front of the class. Statement 3. I start to panic when I know I will be great in the class. Statement 4. I fear giving wrong answer while answering question or statement during the class. Statement 5. I feel shy speaking English in front of the class. Statement 6. I'm so nervous then I tremble when I'm going to be tasked orally. Statement 7. I feel pressure when my lecturer corrects my oral mistake in class. And the last one, I get nervous and confused when I'm speaking in front of the class. For love of self-esteem, there are 5 statements. Statement 1, on the whole, I'm satisfied with myself during the class. Statement 2, I'm able to speak in English as well as most of my friends. Statement 3, I feel I do not have much to be proud during the class. Statement 4, I wish I could have more respect for myself. Statement 5, in all, I am inclined to feel that I'm a failure. In summary from the student response, towards 5 statements above, there were 4 statements which show that most of students did not have problem in their self-esteem. In other hand, some of them still tend to have low self-esteem. The first problem, they close were unable to speak in English as well as most of their friends. Is also supported by student answer in interview, which all of them state that their speaking had not fluent yet. Then they felt they had not much to be proud during the class due to several problems. In addition, some of them also said that sometimes they felt inferior compared to their other friends who speak English more fluent. Conclusion. In conclusion, the DFL student at Universitas Islam Riau faced some problem in speaking skill, particularly in the subject of speaking for social intercultural communication class. The data were analyzed from the student answer on questionnaire, then supported by their answer in the interview. The psychological problem that prominently encountered the student was low of self-esteem. They were unable to speak in English as well as most of their friends. Then, they felt they had not much to be proud during the class due to several problems. Most of the students tend to feel they were a failure because they have not improved their speaking skill yet due to several linguistic problems which encountered them at the same time. The data were analyzed from the student answer and questionnaire then, supported by the answer in interview. So the psychological problem that prominently encountered the student was low of self-esteem. So that's all from me. Thank you and see you next presentation. Bye.